Hello, welcome to the next video lecture of this EMTL course. In this, I am going to start the unit 5, that is transmission lines. So now let us discuss the first topic, that is the general topic, that is types of transmission lines. Types of transmission lines. So before going to this, let us see why we are going for transmission line. So generally transmission line is nothing but a wire or a conducting medium to transmit the power from one place to another place. So generally we can see our overhead lines, which we can see in our day-to-day life. We are going to have overhead power lines. Those are termed as one of the transmission lines. So they are going to transmit or propagate. They are going to transmit the energy from one place to another place. We can say the place which we are going to transmit is a transmitter, and the place where it is going to reach it as a load, or we can say it is a sink. Okay, we can say. Okay. Now here we are going to say that energy can be transmitted by radiation or electromagnetic. So we are going to say that energy can be transmitted either by radiation or electromagnetic waves from one place to another place by various conductors, or various conductors is called transmission line. So what I am going to call a transmission line? Transmission line is nothing but a conductive medium. Okay, transmission line is a conductive method of transmitting energy from one place to another place, or we can say source to destination also we can say. Okay, so source to destination also we can say. So that is, it is a conductive method of guiding electromagnetic energy or electrical energy. Okay, guiding, we can say here transmitting, or we can say here guiding also, guiding electrical energy. So we are guiding here electrical energy from one place to another place. So that is what a transmission line definition means. Okay, now we will see the basic types of transmission lines. Basic types of transmission lines. So in that, let us see one by one here. Parallel wire line, parallel wire type. Second one is coaxial line, or coaxial cable also we can say, or also coaxial cable. Next, waveguide. Next, we are having, these are the fiber optics. Next, planar line. Next, we are having wire above the conducting planes. And finally we have microstrip line. So these are all the what we can say, these are all the general we can say types of basics type of transmission lines we have. So most probably we are going to study these parallel line, coaxial and waveguide in general. Okay, so but whereas this, because generally in transmission line, how we are going to classify a transmission line? So transmission lines, so suppose if power is more, suppose we can see this parallel line and coaxial. So if we can see all these transmission lines, so the power is more compared to all the transmission lines. Here the power is more and the frequency is less. and here the power is comparatively less compared to this one, and frequency somewhat more, and here power is very small, and whereas the frequency is very more. Okay, so that is what how we are going to here we are going to classify here. Okay, so generally we are going to study in detail about this parallel wire type line. Okay, so first we will talk about parallel wire type. Okay, parallel wire line. First we will talk about parallel wire line type transmission line. Parallel wire type. So this is one of the transmission line. Parallel wire means here we are going to suppose if I take one line, another line, these are parallel to each other. So these are parallel to each other. This type of configuration is called parallel wire type. Okay. So here this line is also called open wire line. Open wire line. Okay. We can also call this as open wire line because here the conductor is open to free space. Open wire line type. Okay. So we don't have any. So whatever the overhead lines we are going to see in our day-to-day life, so we don't have any shielding to that one. Okay, so that is it is open. Okay, it is uncovered. Okay, that is why it is called open wire line, and generally we are going to use this in power lines and telegraph lines. Okay, we are going to use in power and telegraph lines. Power and telegraph lines. So nowadays we are not going to use these telegraph lines. So power lines we are going to use. Okay, so power in order to transmit power we are going to use this open wire line type or parallel wire type lines here. Okay, and also used as feeder in feeder and impedance matching purpose. So this is also used as impedance matching. So you are going to come across how this is going to act like a impedance matching device. We are going to see in the further sessions or further topics of this unit. Okay, and we are going to say that it is used as a impedance matching device and also as a feeder and also as feeder. Feeder means which we are going to get as an input. Okay, so that is how we are going to use this open wire line type. Okay, and next we are going to see that is they are easy to construct and easy to and cheaper. Okay, easy to construct and also they are cheaper. These type of transmission lines, so we don't have any complexity in this transmission line, so that's why they are easy to construct and also fabricate, and they are very cheaper compared to all the transmission line. That's why you can see most of the power lines why we are using that, because they are always cheaper. Okay, right. Next, here the insulation, that is the insulation between the conductor line is air. Okay, so we don't have any insulation because we don't have any covering to this one. That's why here the insulation is air here. Okay, insulation between the conductor is air here. Is air. So insulation, or we can also call as a dielectric material. So dielectric material can be free space, that is air here, and the dielectric loss is extremely small here. Dielectric loss is extremely small. Dielectric loss is small. So the dielectric loss is very small here, and this is we are going to say this is a balanced type transmission line. Why? Because balanced with respect to earth, or with respect to earth we can say. Why? Because we are having two conductors. These two conductors are balanced with respect to each other. That's why we are calling this as balanced with respect to earth. Okay, and there is a significant loss due to the radiation. Okay, we can have. So these type of lines, they suffer. So because most of the power lines, the power which is traveling, it will be escaping out due to the radiation effect. Okay, the loss which is going to occur, it is radiation effect here. Okay, significant loss due to radiation. Significant loss due to radiation. So that's why we are not going to use, as the frequency increases, we need to change the type of the transmission line. That is what we have to remember here. So all the transmission line which we are having here, that is which I have noted here. So they are we are using at particular frequencies. We can't use, suppose I can't use parallel wire type line here in place of microstrip line, or microstrip line cannot be used at this here. Okay, why? Because here they are meant for specific reason. Okay, so as the frequency increases or power decreases, the type of the transmission line is also going to change. Okay, that is what we have to remember. So this line is suitable, it is not suitable above 100 megahertz. Okay, so this type of transmission line is not suitable above 100 megahertz, we can say. So that is, they are not, so that's why this type of transmission line. Why? Because we can use this above 100 that is 100 megahertz also. If we what happens if we use these more than 100 megahertz? So the drawback is it is going to suffer significant amount of loss due to the radiation. So that's why we are restricting our use of parallel wire type line up to 100 megahertz only. Okay, beyond 100 megahertz we are not going to use this type of transmission line. Okay, so energy propagating through this line is set up electric field between the line and conductor. Okay, we are going to say that, suppose let me draw here the diagram of this one. So this is one line and this is another line. So here so I can say I am drawing the vertical view here. If I take the vertical view here like this, it will be like this. The transmission line, okay, the electric fields will be like going like this. They are going like this. So they are going like this, escaping out like this. So these are the electric lines, these are the E lines we can say, and these are the H lines. The dotted lines which I am drawing here. So we are having electric and magnetic field lines, E and H lines. E means the bold, bold lines. H lines are broken lines. Electric field and magnetic field lines are like this. Okay, they are like this. Okay, so the magnetic field lines are like this, and electric field lines are like this, moving outside. Okay, moving outside radially outward. Okay, so this is about and here electric field, this electric field and magnetic field and E and H are perpendicular to each other. Here. Okay, the magnetic field and electric field are perpendicular to each other, and so the mode of propagation, if the electric field and magnetic field are perpendicular to each other, the mode of propagation is called TEM. That is, it is called transverse electromagnetic wave. Transverse electric and magnetic. So here we are having TE, TM and TEM modes. We are having three types of modes generally in waveguides. That is transverse electric, transverse magnetic, transverse electromagnetic. So as the transmission line is in the open A, that is free space. So that's why the mode of propagation here possible is transverse electromagnetic wave. Transverse electromagnetic mode. Okay. So this type of mode is possible in free space or in this type of transmission line. Now we will move on to the next type of transmission line, that is coaxial transmission. That is second type, coaxial type. Next we will go for the second one, that is coaxial cable, we can say. So why we are not using the second type, that is the parallel one line type, because as we are going to increase the frequency. Why? Because why actually we are going to increase the frequency? What is the need of increasing the frequency? Here very important reason here we can say that in order to avoid the losses, we need to increase the frequency. We need to increase the frequency. Suppose if I will give an example here. Suppose I am having a 10 watts power here, okay, at the transmitter, and at the receiver. If I send this 10 watts to this one, this receiver, after getting, it may receive 5 watts. Why? Because this transmission line is very long, so the frequency is less. If I send the same 10 watts of power with somewhat high speed, then what is going to happen? The loss is going to be very less. Okay? That's why in order to reduce the losses, we are going on increasing the frequency. Okay, so that's why we need to increase the frequency of the signal in order to overcome the losses. So that is the main what we can say the logic here. Okay, the logic here is we are going to transmit the signal, power signal, and we are going to, as we are going to increase the frequency, automatically the power is going to be somewhat reduced. You can see the Indian transmission, that is Indian power system and American power system. We are having the basic difference there lies. They are transmitting the power with 100 kilohertz. We are transmitting the same power, but they are transmitting less power, and we are transmitting more power, that is 250 watts at the rate of 60 hertz. They are transmitting 100 watts kilowatts 100 watts at the rate of 100 kilohertz. So see the difference. Okay, if we are going to send the signal with more speed, we can reduce the losses. Okay, now we will go to the coaxial cable. So why we are going for the coaxial cable? In order to reduce the losses. Okay, here coaxial cable has two conductors. It has two conductors, outer conductor and inner conductor. We can say two conductors. So like this. Okay, so here the inner conductor is covered with the outer conductor. So it has one hollow tube. Okay, one is hollow tube. Hollow means like a cylinder. Hollow tube. So it is covered with one another. Dielectric may be solid or gaseous. So every time we are going to have dielectric here. Dielectric may be solid or gaseous. Dielectric may be solid or gaseous. We can have. So next, that is the dielectric means where we are going to get this dielectric between the inner conductor and outer conductor. The space may be either gaseous or we can have solid. Okay. Second conductor is being located inside the coaxial cable within the tube. Okay. So here we are going to see that like this. Okay. It is conductor like this. Generally, this is the inner conductor and the outer conductor, and we are having the dielectric is filled in between these two. Okay. So here the electric field lines or the electromagnetic field lines are confined to this inner conductor only. Okay, and the outer conductor is going to act like a shield. It is going to protect the electromagnetic waves or power lines or power to transmit inside this inner conductor. So the outer conductor is going to be acting like a shield. It is going to protect. Okay, so that is what here we are going to see in this coaxial cable. Okay, so the here that is outer conductor provide shielding. Next, most of the coaxial cables are polythene or dielectric. Okay, so here most of the coaxial cables are polythene. We can have polythene, or that is the material which we are going to use as polythene as dielectric. So the dielectric which we are going to use, that is in between these conductor and inner conductor and outer conductor, it can be a polythene. Next, so here as we are going to say that the losses are comparatively less compared to the prior, that is parallel wire type. So here the losses in the dielectric increases as we are going to say that if we are here also the losses are going to increase when if we are going to increase the frequency beyond. Okay, beyond that limit, beyond the limit. Okay, so here we are saying that losses are going to increase, losses are increase as the signal frequency increases, as the signal frequency increases. So what I am telling, what is the main agenda, what is the main logic here? We are going to say that it is concluded that as the frequency increases, the type of the transmission is going to suffer losses, that is the radiation losses. So in order to avoid that one, we are going the other type of transmission line. Okay, so here you can see so it is used up to 1 gigahertz only. Okay, so the limit what we have to use. Okay, so it can be used up to 1 gigahertz. So in previously we have seen that it is used up to 1000 gigahertz, 100 megahertz only. So whereas this coaxial cable, the signal frequency has been increased. You can observe here 1 gigahertz is more comparatively 100 megahertz. Okay, so that's why we are the coaxial cable here we are going to use having less losses compared to the parallel type line. Okay, so this type of, so we are going to say that these coaxial cables are comparatively costlier and also costlier compared to open wire line. Okay, it is costlier than the open wire line, that is the first type line. And next, so we can see the, let us see the diagram here, how it looks like. So the diagram it looks like this, the inner conductor here like this, yeah, like this, it will look like this. So you can see here the inner conductor and outer conductor here. So the how the electric and magnetic fields are confined, here they are confined is like this. Okay, like this they are confined. If you see the perpendicular view, that is front view, that is if you look the side view, it will be looking like this. If you see this one, it will be looking like this. Okay, we are going to see the perpendicular view here, end view here we can say, end view. Okay, I am drawing the radiation, electric and magnetic field lines here like this. So these are the E lines which are originating outside, going outside. You can see here these magnetic field lines. Okay, so these are the magnetic, that is the dotted lines are magnetic field lines, and the dark line, these are the E lines and these are the H lines we can say. And next we are having the inner conductor and outer conductor like this. This is the inner conductor, radius it is having a small d diameter, and the outer conductor is having the diameter as capital D. Here we can have capital D. Right. So here that is, this is the second type of transmission line, that is coaxial cable. So what is the conclusion we are going to give? As coaxial cables are extensively used up to 1 gigahertz, and because it is going to have less losses compared to the parallel wire type line. So here what is the main drawback here? It is somewhat costlier than the parallel wire type line. Okay. Next we will go to the waveguides. Waveguides. What is a waveguide? Wave means electromagnetic wave. Guide means which is going to help the wave. Okay. So here waveguide is nothing but a tube-like structure where it is. So as we are saying that as the here the main drawback is it is used up to 1 gigahertz. If the signal frequency is more than 1 gigahertz, at that time these type of transmission lines or this type of medium we are going to use in order to transmit the signal from transmitter to the receiver. Okay. Now here this is also the this is a transmission line consisting of hollow cylinder, that is a empty cylinder type we can say, like an empty box like. Okay, with dielectric material fitted with inside. Okay, with dielectric fitted inside, inside the box here. Okay, we can say. Okay. So this type of transmission lines we are going to use as UHF frequency, that is ultra high frequency, and UHF waves along the length. Okay. So here we are going to use UHF that is ultra high frequency lines, ultra high frequency signals we are going to use. So these type of these type of waveguides are nothing but, these type of lines are nothing but waveguides. So waveguide is nothing but a hollow type cylinder, I mean hollow type box or a cylinder, and it is fitted with a dielectric material inside this one, and we are going to use this type of transmission and at the UHF frequency. This type of transmission lines are termed as a waveguide. Okay, so the transmitted wave can be reflected. Okay, we can say that internal. So as we can say that this is a type of a transmission like this. Okay, rectangular waveguide type. Okay. So here these are the walls of the transmission lines here. So these are the walls of the transmission. So the electric field and magnetic field they are going to reflect from the walls of the waveguide, and it is transmitting. Okay, that's why it is having less losses compared to the coaxial cable. Okay, so here result. So the walls of the waveguides are reflected. That is the waves is reflected by the walls of the waveguide here while it is traveling. Okay, so due to this we are going to have less losses compared to the coaxial cable. And while transmitting, so in order to send the signal inside a waveguide, we are having some modes. So we are going to have some modes in order to transmit. That is TE mode, TM mode, TN TM mode. That is transverse electric and transverse magnetic. Transverse electric mode, transverse means here perpendicular, transverse magnetic. So transverse electric means the electric field will be perpendicular to the direction of propagation, and transverse magnetic means magnetic field will be perpendicular to the direction of propagation here. TEM mode, okay, generally we are going to use in the coaxial cable. That is transverse electromagnetic mode. This is transverse electric and magnetic field, electric and magnetic mode. Okay. So generally this type of mode, that is TEM mode, we are going to use either in the open wire line type line, or we are going to use in the open free space. Okay. So where the electric field and magnetic field are perpendicular to the direction of propagation. Okay. That is electric field, magnetic field are perpendicular to the direction of propagation. So at those places we are going to use this. TEM mode. Okay. Next we will. So here rectangular waveguide and circular waveguide. We are having two types of transmission lines here. That is waveguides here. Circular type, circular or rectangular waveguide. Rectangular. We are having circular waveguide and rectangular waveguide. So circular means we are having circular in fashion, and rectangular means they are having the geometry of the waveguide is in rectangular type. Okay. So here we can see the. Let us see the diagrams of the rectangular and circular waveguides here. Let me draw the diagram of these two waveguides here. This is a circular waveguide diagram here. You can draw this like this. Yeah. So this is the circular waveguide here, where the A is the diameter radius of the this one, and this is the rectangular waveguide diagram here. This is the rectangular waveguide. So here this is the A dimension and this is the B dimension. That is horizontal and vertical dimensions here. So rectangular waveguide, either it may be a circular type or rectangular type. So here these are the two transmission waveguides here. That is this is a circular waveguide and this is a rectangular waveguide. So if the rectangular suppose if a waveguide is terminated or shorted with a plate, that type of transmission, that type of waveguide, it is forming a cavity resonator. So cavity resonators are also used in the storing of electromagnetic energy. Okay. Suppose if your waveguide is terminated with a short, then it will be it will be forming a resonator. So resonator concept is very important in microwave. Why? Because in order to generate a high frequency device, we need to use a resonator. Okay. So here we are going to form a cavity resonator. If we are going to terminate the end of the either circular waveguide or rectangular waveguide, we are going to form a that is resonator here. So generally resonators are used in order to store the electric EM energy, electromagnetic energy. Okay. Resonators are used to store electromagnetic energy here. Okay. Next, so power losses in waveguide is less very much compared to all the other transmission lines. Okay, whatever the till now transmission lines we have seen, all those are having significant power losses if we are going to increase the frequency. Here the frequency is very more and the power is very less in this type of transmission line. So that's why the power loss is very less here. Okay, power loss is less here. Power loss is less here, and in fact that the total here why? Because the electromagnetic energy is propagating inside the waveguide due to the reflections here. That's why the power loss is very less here. Now we will go to the next type of transmission line, that is the fiber optics. What is the fiber optics? So generally we are not going to cover this topic in detail. Just I am giving the brief idea how many types of transmission lines we have and what are the differences between these. While we are selecting a transmission line in order to transmit a high power or low power, which type of transmission lines we need to use. That's why we are covering these fiber optics here, even though it is not required here. That is because due to the fiber optics. So here the fiber optic means here we are not going to use any electromagnetic energy or power here. Generally we are going to use light as the source here. Light is used as a signal to transmit here. Light is used to transmit the signal here. So why we are covering this fiber optic? Because all these the characteristics of the transmission line whatever we are having, they are going to be obeyed by this transmission line also. That's why we are going to cover. So fiber optics can be used in many communications. That is why? Because we are having lot of advantages here. That is superior transmission capability. Okay? Advantages here. Why we are going for the fiber optic? Because so here we are having superior transmission quality. That is very fast, we can say superior transmission quality. And next the losses here is higher information carrying capacity here. Higher information carrying capacity. And next we are going to have, that is lightweight and small size. Okay, here the fiber optics is lightweight and small in size. And also it is going to provide the greater bandwidth here, reduced cost and higher security. The security compared to all other types of transmission line is very much high in this optical fiber cable, and optical fiber cable has very less attenuation, we can say very less attenuation or loss, we can say very less attenuation in OFC. Optical fiber communication has having very less transmission. Okay, next optical fiber is having tremendous bandwidth, very large bandwidth we can have. Okay, so if at all if you want large bandwidth, we can go for the optical fiber. And generally we are going to have optical fiber cables are generally are made up of glass and silica. All of you know this one, I think. Okay, this is a general concept here. And OFC, it is going to work on the concept of total internal reflection. Okay, optical fiber cables works on the principle of the TIR. We can say TIR means total internal reflection. Total internal reflection. So total internal reflection means it will be like this. Okay, if I take the waveguide, that is fiber optic like this, it will be like this, moving like this. So it will be having multiple reflections at the bound, at the places of the optical fiber. Okay, next we'll move on to the next topic, that is next type of transmission line here, that is planar line. So planar line, all those are we are having very less concepts here. We are not going to study in detail about these topics, that is planar line. Next one is planar lines. Planar lines. So it will look, that is planar lines, it is look like a transmission line which is covering like a like this. Okay, it looks like this. Generally yeah. So this is a 3D view of this planar line. So here you can see it is made up of a dielectric material. So here the one here we are having the substrate one plane, we are having two materials are here, that is top plane and ground plane. So this is the 3D view of this planar line. Okay, so it is a wire line which we are having two conductors. Okay, that is made up of a dielectric. Okay, and we are having one or more grounds. Okay, we have, so here we are having one ground, we can have more than one ground also. If we are having, we can have one conductor and substrate and ground plane. Okay, so this type of, and this will be running over a long length. So that's why these are called planar lines. Next we will go to the next that is next type of transmission lines here, that is wire above the conducting plane. Wire above conducting plane. So this is also going to be looking like this here. So here like this. Okay, wire, this is a wire, and here this is a ground surface, or else we can have like this. This is a wire, and we are having ground plane. So that is like this. Okay, we can say the configuration like this. Okay, this is the ground plane and this is the wire here. Okay, this type of transmission line is termed as a wire above the conducting plane. Okay, wire above the conducting plane here. So only one transmission line is wire here. So this type of transmission line is known as unbalanced type. Unbalanced type here. Unbalanced type transmission line we can say. Okay, this type of transmission line is termed as unbalanced transmission lines we can say. Okay, now we will move to the last one, that is microstrip line. Microstrip line. So in the name itself, it is very small. Okay, it is microstrip lines or microstrip lines. We are microstrip antenna. The microstrip antenna is related to the microstrip line only. So they are known as printed antenna or printed. Because we are going to fabricate this with the printed circuit technology. Okay, as in VLSI concept we are having the photolithography process. How we are going to have the same concept here we are going to use in order to fabricate this microstrip transmission lines. Okay, microstrip transmission lines are known as planar transmission lines. Okay, these are planar transmission lines. Okay, so these are planar transmission line. Microstrip transmission lines, they are called unsymmetrical transmission lines also. Unsymmetrical transmission lines also we can call. Okay, and here microstrip transmission lines we are having various layers here, one below the other. So here suppose this is a actually this we can, if you see this one, it will exactly look like a microstrip transmission line. So here we are having conductor, the dielectric and the ground plane here. So these are the various layers we are going to have in a microstrip line. Okay, the various layers we are having conductor. Various layers of microstrip lines are conductor, substrate and a ground plane. That is height above the ground. Okay, so here we are going to, that is the strip is suspended. Okay, here suppose if I take this is the ground and the strip is suspended over a height over a ground plane here. So this type of configuration is nothing but a microstrip line. I will draw the diagram. You will get the good idea here how a microstrip line look like. So these microstrip lines we are going to use where the data transfer is very faster. At those places we are going to use. It will look like this. And this is the strip of conductor, a strip or conductor which we are having, and this is the substrate at height above the ground, and this is the ground plane. We can say this is the ground plane we are going to have. Generally, if you want to have the diagram in the form of a microstrip line, we can have another diagram here. This is the ground plane. So this is a patch, or we can say this is a conductor or patch or a conductor. For this, in order to give the input to this microstrip antenna, we are going to have a patch here, or we can say a microstrip line, from where we are going to give input to this one. Okay, so that is how we are going to have to use this microstrip transmission lines. So, okay, microstrip transmission lines are very I mean they are useful where the compactness is very essential. Okay, where compactness is necessary, at those places we are going to use this microstrip line. And this is the substrate here, substrate, ground plane, and this is the conductor, or we can say input. Okay, input line or strip line we can say. So we are having various types of microstrip lines here. That is one type here. Okay, next, so we are having certain advantages for these microstrip lines. Let us see one by one here. Advantages of the microstrip line. So advantages, there is less expensive than traditional waveguide here. So it is less expensive. I mean the less expensive than microwave waveguide we can say. Because my waveguides are very much costlier than all this one, and far lighter and smaller and more compact. So this is far lighter, very much light here, and less smaller and compact here. And next, easy to fabricate and easy to easy to fabricate here. It is also easy to fabricate and also troubleshoot. Easy to troubleshoot. So these are the various advantages why we are going for microstrip line over the waveguide here. And next, let us see the disadvantages here. Disadvantages, we are having some disadvantages for this microstrip line. That is power handling capacity and higher losses compared to the waveguide here. Okay, lower power handling capability. So here we are having disadvantages. First one is, so that is lower power handling capability. So we can handle high powers by using this microstrip lines. Okay, so low power handling capacity and high losses compared to the waveguide. Okay, here we are having high losses compared to the waveguide here. So each one is having their own advantages and disadvantages. Okay, so we need to select a transmission line where what is the criteria we need to have, what are the what are the requirements we need, according to that we need to select a transmission line and we have to use the transmission line. Okay, so if at all the power handling capability is more, we should not use this microstrip line. We need to go for coaxial cable or waveguides, or else we can go to wire line. Okay, power isolation among the adjacent lines. Okay, poor isolation among the adjacent lines. So poor isolation is very less among the adjacent lines. Adjacent means the nearby lines, adjacent lines. Poor isolation will be there. And next, the finally unwanted radiation. Okay, we can say this one as unwanted radiation or unwanted radiation in unwanted direction. So we don't have, while transmitting the signal in the microstrip line, most of the losses are occurring due to the unwanted radiation in the unwanted direction. That is, we can say fringing. So most of the time we can call this as a fringing effect at the edges. Fringing effects is seen at the edges of the transmission line, like this. As it is traveling, most of the lines has to concentrate into the substrate, rather than what is happening here is most of the electric lines are going outside the substrate here. Suppose if you are having a microstrip line like this, so most of the lines has to confine into the substrate, but some of the electric lines are going outside at the edges of the microstrip. They are going outside the substrate. So this type of radiation is more at high frequencies. That's why it is having unwanted radiation in the unwanted direction. So that is what about the that is what is the introduction about the transmission lines. So in this class we have seen only the introduction of the transmission lines. In the next class we will try to see the transmission line equations, and we will generalize the equations, that is V and I, and after that we will see the parameters, that is secondary and primary parameters of the transmission line, and so on. Okay, till then, take care, bye.